I'm Morey White.
I'm Tracey White.
And I'm Pastor Johnny Leckie, and this is the Compass Conversation Podcast. We will follow you. You have the name above every name. We will follow you, King Jesus.
You know what? There's something over here bothering me. Go ahead and you guys can get started if you want.
Get our banter.
But yeah, because this panel.
Oh, look at that! Yeah.
All right.
We've got something weird going on.
All right, that looks better. Well, they're held onto the wall with magnets, so we can take them off and adjust the bass traps behind. Right?
I see.
And I guess it slipped off, and it was just. Well, it's still a little crooked.
It's just look away. Look away. Just look away.
Look away. It's funny how, if it's just a little off, it bothers you. You know.
Some things, yeah.
Talking about a panel.
You know I'm a little off,
here,
right?
Just to be clear, it's a little crooked. That's what. Just to be clear.
It is. It's,
Okay.
people can't see it out there in the interwebs. World.
Welcome to the podcast. We're glad you're here. It is a chilly night in Aurora, Colorado today.
And windy.
It's
And it's
extremely
supposed
windy.
to be windy tomorrow as well.
Ah, you hate it. I kind of love it.
I do not like this at all.
I don't like wind.
You know what I really do
I'm a
enjoy
fan of the wind.
about the bad, cold, ugly weather that winter is and everything that comes with it is it really gives me a good appreciation for summer and spring.
I do love summer.
Yeah, me too.
Summer's good.
So,
I love them all, man.
and here we get all.
And we get all of them, and it's great. They don't last too long. You know, I know some places, where winter starts in somewhere, like in October, November, and it's not over until late in the season.
I'm sure Leona knows that well.
Yeah, that's right. She does, Alaska.
Yeah.
So,
With the very long days. Did Anchorage have long days?
long days in the summer
nights,
and short days in the winter.
Long nights.
Short days in the winter.
Yeah.
A lot longer than our days.
Well, put it this way, in the summertime, at least in the Anchorage area, it's sunny, and then the sun just kind of dips behind the mountain.
Oh?
And then kind of comes back around. It just sort of kind of gets
weird.
like dusk, stays dusk for a while, and then it's light again. But it's the
pretty
opposite
cool.
of that in wintertime. There's it's dark. And then it just gets sort of bright for several hours, then it gets dark again.
Everybody gets depressed in the winter.
Yeah. That's another thing I love about Colorado, though. Sunshine. There's tons
There
of
is
sunshine.
The sunshine.
Like today, cold, windy, but the sun is shining.
But the sunshine.
Yep.
I love it.
It's good. It's
Okay.
funny that you mentioned light and dark. Anyway.
Hey, what a segue into yesterday. I was going to say, we just spent the first few minutes talking about the weather.
Did we?
The most exciting podcast of all time. Or did we, as you say? Well, before we get into all that, though, how are you doing, Morey?
It was a really good day. Work was fun. I am tired. I slipped on the ice yesterday.
Really?
So my back is kind of tweaked a little bit.
Oh, no.
But other than that, I'm doing great.
Ah,
Well, I just,
out there.
pulled a little something.
See, another
So-
reason to hate that snow.
Yeah.
Well, walking in it. Looking at it is great.
Looking at it is wonderful. He drew a picture when elementary school of a cardinal looking outside of a window of a cardinal sitting on a snow-covered evergreen tree of some sort. Funny thing about that is we lived in South Texas, so none of those things I don't think he had actually ever seen.
Except for the window.
Except he's seen a window.
You've seen a window before, you said.
He won a contest with that.
Oh, very cool. I'll have to see that.
Is
sometime.
that
You still have it? You still have that mounted up on your wall in your living room?
Wasn't that? No.
It
Wasn't
was
that
good.
good?
It was good. It was really good.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks.
How are you doing, Tracy?
I am recovering. So, still,
Yeah.
whatever this is, it hangs on for a while. So, still got some drainage, a little coughing, a little sniffling, but, and a little just dragged down.
Yeah.
So
Well, you were feeling like that yesterday too, and you still played magnificently.
well, thanks.
You did play the drums incredible in the service, just FYI. But I'm sorry you're not feeling well.
It happens.
It happens.
Yeah. How about you, Johnny?
I'm doing pretty good. Good night's rest and kicking off the day. Felt good about yesterday's gathering, and today went really well. I mean, we actually. This sounds terrible, but we had two of the kids that I work with actually go home early today.
So it was a good day.
So it made the day a little bit easier, a little bit more exciting. And also, Leona had taken some time off to go to an appointment, and so she got to come and visit and hang out with me during the last part of the day. So that was fun.
That's cool. Nice. That's always good.
Absolutely. That's always a fun thing.
Yeah. Well, this is a conversation podcast. That's what we call it that because we're just having a conversation. So
That's right.
it's not like a big presentation. We haven't
Dun, dun,
typed
dun,
up any
dun.
notes. We haven't. We're just talking about what's happening in our lives in Encompass Church and questions we have and talking about the message and that sort of thing. So for those who are just joining us.
It was a really good message yesterday. In fact, I have a little bit of an example of what we talked about. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
Visuals.
Oh, no!
where are my keys?
There was an echo. That was cool.
Oh, we have light now. There are my keys.
Hey.
Here, hide that under your coat.
No!
No.
I'm going to let it.
Oh,
You know
for that
what?
one.
I thought about that song.
I almost used it. I almost quoted it, but I didn't want us to start singing it or thinking it too loud.
You know, we would have.
This little Adam.
Yeah, but we would have had to done the version of the Bible that we're using, the Christian Standard. Is that what it's called?
Yes, Christian Standard Bible.
Hide it under a basket. No!
Yes, we said basket instead of bushel.
Yeah.
Basket, bushel, bowl.
Bed.
Bed. Yeah, you know, and that's, we were talking about the light of God and Jesus, his light.
The light of the world.
Light shines.
How,
Was point
you know
number
what?
one.
Nothing hides from the light.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's actually a cool thought
It's a scary
and
thing.
a little bit of a scary thought.
You're right. Yeah.
You know, we think that a lot of times that we do things in private, and that necessarily isn't necessarily the case.
That's correct.
Not to God.
Not at
So,
all.
That's true.
all right. Just like my keys.
Like the keys.
And actually, Tracy went fade to black instead of actually turning off the lights.
Yeah, because it was easier to sit here and do that than to get up and turn the lights on. You want to illustrate?
Is that what happened? Is that what was going on here? I didn't
you'll see it.
realize. Oh.
Right? No, it's a
I guess I was just in the
surprise.
dark. on that one.
No.
Hey!
Thank you.
Three dads around a little table drinking some coffee. What do you expect?
I'm on the water.
Monday evening.
I
Monday
had a
evening.
little too much coffee
Oh, I
today.
got you. Monday evening dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
Well, yeah, so we're in Mark chapter 4, and
Yes.
the beginning of verse 21, where we picked up from the last month's big Sunday, and 21 through 34. And so, yeah, that was the first thing that Jesus had transitioned to after the conversation about the soils and all of that.
That's right.
But you don't. The point that I was saying is that light, it's supposed to shine. It shines.
Yeah.
It does.
And he said not to. You wouldn't. I mean, he starts off with this thing demonstrating that it's weird that you have a lamp and you use it in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
And said something absurd, like would you take a lamp and put it under your bed or cover it with a measuring bowl or a bushel or whatever?
Basket.
Well, you think about back in that day, putting your lamp under the bed is a totally different thing.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
right
dangerous.
now.
place on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So he's just saying the absurdity
It was
of
absurd,
it.
yeah.
That we're supposed to shine,
We are.
and then he made the other. It's like a 1-2 punch with this idea of light, saying it's kind of ridiculous to not be shining your light. And the other side of that is nothing, as you said, Morey, is going to be hidden.
That's right.
His light, it invades, it reveals, and Jesus was really talking about himself in that
was.
instance, that my light and the truth of who I am is going to be very clear to all. But yeah, the light, that was the first bit.
Yeah, that's and it's really interesting because it's not the first time. He says it several times. Jesus says it several times. He says, "For those that have ears, let them hear."
Yeah.
And it's basically, you were talking about, him giving these little tidbits, making them want more.
Parables.
And parables, with that. But to me, it makes me listen up at the same time. It's almost as if he said, listen up.
Yeah.
I got something I'm going to say real quick. And I'm going to make an example. And this is important.
Yeah.
So every time I read that in the Word, I perk up a little bit. I think about my dogs. The ears just, the ears come up.
You have ears, yes.
Yeah.
Hear, let him hear.
Hey, y'all listen to this.
Hey, now y'all listen.
You want to say something?
There's the really East Texas accent. Now here, y'all listen.
Y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, he does that throughout, and even the next idea, that idea of the measure you use,
Yes.
determines the message you receive. And even as I was going through that, I wasn't sure I was making that as clear as it could be, but it's akin to the idea of if you have ears to hear, let him hear, even though he just said that.
Yeah.
But he's also saying, if you're attentive and if you are seeking and if you're genuinely wanting to hear this, you will begin to understand. And you'll, by the measure that you are putting into that, is what you're going to get back. So if you're sort of half-heartedly listening, you're not going to get it all. You're going to get a little,
You got to think about the Pharisees and the scribes and Sadducees. All of those guys are sitting back. They're not hearing a word.
No,
they're
they've
not
already
hearing what he's meaning.
Or they're just trying to gather, something to get him with.
Right. So they're listening, and we've talked about listening to respond versus listening to understand.
Yes.
And I think that's where
Yes.
they were. They were listening to formulate their response, And I think whenever he's saying, hey, y'all, listen up, is, listen to understand. And I think that the measure by which you put the effort, I guess, into
Yes, that's it.
listening to understand,
Yeah,
then you'll gain more out of it. So
Yeah, absolutely, Tracy. I was thinking that it's like it's not as simple as saying. I think I tried to say this yesterday, but it's not as simple as saying you're going to get out of it what you put into it.
right.
Right? Because you can say that about anything, as well. You put in a little effort, and you're going to get a little back. It's sort of that. It is certainly a little of that, but it's a little bit more than that too. It's like if you, what's a good illustration of this? I'm not really sure. It's like if you had a cart on rails and it's heavy, and you give it a little push, and it's hard to get it going. Once you give it a little push, it starts going really fast, and it's like multiplying even the effort that you're giving it. It's almost like Jesus is saying, I dare you, test me in this,
Yes.
learn of me, come explore more. And as you do, I'm going to give you more than you ever even dreamed to understand.
Right.
So, yeah. So that was kind of cool.
You gave an example about a gentleman that you knew.
Tony.
Tony. Who, when you first met him, was kind of a rough fella.
He was. Totally drunk first time I met him.
But,
I just don't know how else to say it. I mean, that's just the way it was. I mean, that's your drunk Uncle Tony.
But he took that to heart.
Yeah.
And he started that momentum.
Yeah, and he just kept on learning, and he kept growing. And there was the hunger was there, and he didn't just go, gee, I'm hungry in this, and I'm in that weird, and then forget about it. He just, he really pursued what God wanted him to understand. He pursued understanding the Bible, and then, ultimately,
He was your Sunday school.
he was my Sunday school teacher. Yeah, in the weirdest twist of all time. The former drunk weird guy.
Not
became
so
my
weird
Sunday
though.
school
I mean, you look at
Yeah,
folks
yeah.
in the Bible all
Yeah,
the
you're
time, and you got some people who really didn't have it going for them, right? But they were the ones that were chosen,
Absolutely.
to carry the message, to do the thing that God wanted to, to do, and
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Saul
right. So
returned to Paul.
yeah, I mean, there's examples all over the place that perfect people. Perfection is not required to be useful. In the kingdom of God, perfection is not required to be approached. For that.
God will use you for His perfection.
God will. Now,
Would you like that? That was good.
now the change that comes along with that is definitely, I would imagine required. Even with the missteps along the way and everything. But
Well, thanks for bringing
but
that.
starting, people need to understand you don't have to be perfect, to come before God. In fact,
that's the whole idea is that we're not.
right.
We need
Bingo.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say thanks for bringing that back around on track there too, because I meant a strange twist, like a surprise in a story. But his story is all of our story. Who's followed Jesus?
Yeah.
Once we were lost, now we see. Right? So that light has brought conviction of sin. We see ourselves for who we are, and we place our faith in Jesus, and He changes us. Right?
Yeah, but why does He do that? Now, the answer is in a song we sang. It's that reckless love
Yeah.
That is His love.
that is proven in John 3:16.
John 3:16.
John 3:16.
For God so loved the world that He gave His one and only Son, that whoever would believe in Him will not perish but have everlasting life.
But that's where it all started. He loved us. He already showed us. He showed us His light.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
And I'll also add to this idea that we don't begin perfect.
Yeah.
We don't start our journey with Jesus as perfect people. We're imperfect. He is perfect.
Yeah.
He changes us, but the journey, we're not perfect even now.
Right.
We're never perfect. Yeah,
We're
I think
moving towards perfection.
We
We're
try. We
working
do
on
our
it.
best, but we're made perfect.
Yes.
Through Jesus. So.
He is making us perfect. And in God's eyes, He sees us through what Jesus did.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to, I had lunch with my boss today, and we were talking about wisdom and how as you get older, you realize more things that you do not know.
Right.
You learn that there is so much more that you still need to learn. When you're 16 years old, you think you got it all. You understand it all.
I think it starts a little earlier than that. Ask my kids.
Yeah, just ask them. But you know what I'm saying. You think you know it all, but as you get older, you realize there is so much more.
Yeah.
So much more.
That's the truth.
And I think the more I spend time in the Word, the more I realize there's so much more that God wants to do in our lives. He wants to show through our lives, and through the relationships that we build, the love that we show.
Yeah.
And there is just so much more.
Yes.
Do you know why that works, bro?
Why?
Because whenever you have ears to hear, you get out of it
Yes.
the effort of listening and understanding that you put in.
Nice
And so
quick story.
even at our age, which isn't, we're not spring chickens.
You've ever been a spring chicken?
You're the young one.
I am. I'm the young one.
Baby. He's just a little baby boy.
I think I'm about halfway there, though. So, still learn.
The best of us.
The point is,
you doing
they're
about
still
it?
learning. You know,
That's going to be my response
Dude,
when
we
somebody
grew
says,
up-
"How you doing?"
we grew up with the
Sorry. Go ahead.
preacher's kids, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we were around the Bible and the message and all this all the time.
Yeah.
But we never figured it all out. And we probably never will figure it all out until we're,
In heaven.
in heaven, and then we got to figure it out, right? So I think it's a really healthy. You say that because we're still hearing and understanding and learning, and,
Yes.
and that's
Yeah,
very
still
healthy
learning.
for us. So.
That reminds me of the other thing I was sharing is that, like, when I was little, I was in church, but I wasn't really listening.
No.
And
Right.
everything changed when I just tuned in a little bit, and started to understand and started to listen. And then it's like, whoa. So, yeah, that whole idea of by the measure you use,
Yeah.
that's going to determine whether you're getting this or not, whether it's making sense or not, whether it's like someone looking at, two people looking at something, one has the right heart, they're listening, they're tuned in, the other isn't. They're looking at their watch, they're hearing the words, but they're not hearing the words.
Right.
It's that idea.
Yep.
It was also a sad Sunday.
It was. You told it
Yeah.
that you read that thing that Penny wrote, y'all's friend Penny.
Yes.
That was
Anyone
really
else?
great, by the way.
Yeah, and she's written a number of those kinds of things over the way. And I'll link to these. And by the way, it should be posted by the time this is yesterday's video.
Mm-hmm.
So the message from yesterday with me reading that whole thing, if you want to hear it, it's all there. And I may put a link also to it. But yeah, she, not a perfect person by any stretch, but longtime friends. Leona knew her much better than I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I do add a correction, by the way. I mentioned it was my son Matthew she was holding and singing. It wasn't. It was my niece.
Oh.
And I just remembered. I got the years off because it was a long time ago.
That was a few days.
I was thinking it
Couple of
was
days
my
ago,
son.
yeah.
You know what? It was my niece, Andy. But she just was really smart. But she had that crisis of faith and had written that. And then yes, it was probably probably about 45 minutes before we got there on Sunday morning that we got the message that she had passed away.
Yeah.
So it was really fresh, and I decided to add that in really at the last minute. So
It was great. It was a neat perspective.
We were truly blessed by that.
yeah, it was very awesome.
It was. Can I give just a brief?
Sure,
Just-
yeah.
Yeah, but don't
Something-
spoil it totally.
I'm not going to
because-
spoil it,
yeah.
but it was, she was training a dog, and the dog had to see another dog do the
dog thing.
in order to learn how to do that. And it was, the parallel was Jesus came in the flesh to show us how to live, love, and be what we need to be. He, I don't want to call him a dog. Teach him another dog.
Probably not
Jesus,
appropriate.
the man, God as man, came to show us and stepped in
Yeah.
to be the example. And that was really powerful.
Yeah.
Well, it is, especially just some of the great descriptive ways she talks about how Jesus became and had the opportunity to be a sweaty,
Yes.
dirty man. And I meant dirty in the
Dusty.
sense of the
Yeah,
dust
yeah.
and whatever. And that's
on the
so
road, they walked.
true. I mean, we read this in Philippians, how he left the grandeur of heaven, of the royal kingdom of heaven, and humbled himself and became one of us,
Yeah.
and not presented to kings, presented in a tiny manger in a little stable in Bethlehem, appearing to shepherds, but that he became one of us to show us the way and to demonstrate that he is the way.
Yeah.
Right? He's our compass. He's our way.
That's right. And it ties in.
And it all comes full circle. But yeah, and she passed away, and it was an emotional moment. I got it once again. It's twice now. I got a little choked up in the past
you
year.
That's right.
Jeez. But
it's 'cause you're
but
getting
it's
old.
powerful. Yeah, it must be that. No, but it's powerful. I mean, just to consider, that, and that's what I was trying to say, that we gather every Sunday and we can get to the ritual of church, even no matter how you do church, no matter what your style is, whatever, you can get to the ritual of just church. And it being just a gathering or a service, and then you come back and you do it again, and you come back. Well, following Jesus is so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's not really less than that, though,
Yeah, right.
just to be clear.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's so much more than that. And, that the words that we're sharing from Scripture, these are words of life. These are not just fairy tales or an inspirational speech. We're literally talking about, the course of your life, life, my life, our families, and our eternity, And so here's someone that we knew who's actually a little younger than us. She might have actually been your age, come to think of it.
like you're young.
You're a young man.
Look,
He's a young man.
24 is pretty young.
Anyway, she passed away pretty young. This thing happened really fast. It was only about a year or so ago when she even discovered it. She was healthy.
Yeah.
And it happened fast. And then, within a year, so she's gone.
Yeah.
And that could be any of us. And, that important question, is Jesus who he's saying he is? This is like one of the most important issues of all of life. Is what he's saying, is that really true? Is that for real? Because all of us are going to die.
That is true.
Bernard Shaw, I think it was, said that the statistics on death are staggering. 1 out of 1 people die.
That's exactly right.
It's like
That is exactly right.
pretty good stat.
Oh, yeah.
So wherever you are in that, I think it kind of caught me that yes, this is incredibly important what we're talking about, and we want to get this right, So we all need to get this right.
Yep. Like it.
I agree with that.
27 minutes.
Well, do you guys have anything else you'd like to share? Any question or anything that came out of yesterday, or any other thoughts about the day? I mean,
I love the worship. Always loved
Yeah.
Sunday worship. Still
Yeah.
haven't set the drums up yet. Back again. More
Yeah, it
slipping
was all
on the
good.
ice
Music
was
was
when we
good.
were unloading
no.
yesterday after church.
Yeah.
After?
Yeah, after.
Oh man.
So
Yeah, my right leg
Where was the ice?
went that way,
Was it the parking
and
lot?
so did my
no,
left
it
leg.
was
No,
right
no.
here.
Oh, here.
Of course, right in the back.
Because
Where the sun doesn't shine, right?
'Cause
So it never really clears up.
I had the bag of de-icing stuff and chose not to use it because I looked out, the sidewalks were clear, the streets were clear, the parking lot was clear.
Yeah.
Usually I do just fine on the ice, but I guess
Well,
I
I'm
got
out of
a little
salt
bit
too, so
I think I got in a bit of a hurry.
maybe we should have salted.
Maybe.
Sorry, bro.
It wasn't your fault. But have you noticed that we're talking softer tonight?
Do we need to?
Isn't that weird?
Why?
I don't know.
What's the whisper? I don't.
So it's a whisper.
I'll have to bump
I bet
the
you
volume.
that Michael picked
We're,
up the
you
whisper.
know,
Hear me now.
It's a pretty good mic.
It has a good mic. Anyway,
this is where everyone tuned out.
Yeah,
They've
right.
already clicked away from the podcast today.
but
Well,
wait, there's
you know.
more.
There is. And it isn't too early to be talking about this, but Easter is not that far away,
No.
boys and girls. It's
It
we've got the rest of February, which is this week.
Yep.
Then there's
Wow.
March, and then 2 weeks in, boom, Easter.
Yep.
So what is that? About 6 or 7 weeks, maybe. And,
Yeah, and sadly, I'm going to be gone like basically 6 of the next 12 weeks.
yeah, I know that's terrible. We're gonna miss you horribly.
Yeah, I'll Skype in.
Yeah, do it.
Johnny's gonna miss you.
Ah, I see how you are.
I'll miss you. I'll miss you, Tracy.
Thanks, Johnny.
All right, guys. Was there anything else we want to talk about this tonight? I feel like there's some big thing I'm forgetting, but I don't know what it is.
Well, you brought up Easter,
Yeah,
but
Easter's on
that's
the way.
all you said.
That's all I said. It's coming,
It's coming.
and we're going to.
We're going to...
What we did last year was great. I loved it. And every time I ever tell anybody what we did, Easter at the table, they're always like, "Oh, that sounds kind of nice."
It was cool.
Just to avoid some of the hoopla, but we're strongly considering now doing a combo of both Easter at the table and also having
Big
quasi
Sunday.
big Sunday on Easter. So
That'd be great.
I think it's good.
Quasi big.
Quasi big. Let's call it Mega Sunday.
That would be medium
really,
big.
Mega
medium
Sunday.
big. Mega Sunday.
Easter. Come on, Mega Sunday.
Join us for Mega Sunday.
Let's call it
Sunday.
Giga Sunday.
Monster trucks will be in the parking lot. Mega Sunday.
You know what? People are going to show up and go, where are the
trucks?
You said on that podcast with monster
Megas.
trucks on Mega Sunday.
Well, all right, fellas. Hey, we meet every Sunday at Arkansas Elementary School at 10 a.m., and we would love for you to be our guest this Sunday. We have base camp gathering happening this coming Sunday. It's going to be great. We'd love to see you there. You can always discover more at compassdenver.com. All right, guys. Final word.
Love you guys. Love everybody else.
Love you. Peace.
Grace and peace to you. That's all we have for tonight. Hope you have a blessed week. We're out. All right, fellas. Ooh, we should have said that. We sang the song. We sang that song Sunday.